Started now.
And I can hear my own
And I can
voice.
hear my own voice.
So
So
someone needs to stop
someone
me.
needs to stop me.
Here. Kamishi, I'm gonna have to server mute you and until you get your mic issues sorted out so it doesn't disturb the other people. Alrighty, so welcome to week 1 of 2021. Thank you all who've been participating in my classes who are returning, and welcome to the newcomers that have been curious about my classes. Today we're going to be kind of warming up because this is going to be warm-up week. We'll just be kind of like taking it slow and taking it easy. We'll be reviewing some of the stuff that I've studied in these classes with you all from last year. Just kind of getting back into the speed of things, easing ourselves in. One of my New Year's resolutions is I want to have a much stronger start to my art. So I'm going to be practicing with you some brief line drills and stuff that are going to help us get warmed up. So first things first. I'm going to lead you guys through about 20 minutes of line drills or something. So Alexa, set timer for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, starting now. By the way, if you need more
Alexa,
time...
shut up. Alright, so we got a 20-minute timer going, and now I'm going to lead you guys in some line drills. Alright, so first off, here's the main thing that we're going to be practicing as we're warming up. CSI. That means C curve, S curves, and straights. So just keep that in mind. Like write that on your paper like 3 times, like CSI, 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 because we're going to be re-emphasizing doing this evening. So this is everything you draw should involve a C curve, an S curve, or a straight. And keep in mind that like an ovoid or a sphere is basically just two C curves together, essentially. But that's the other thing. Aside from CSI, the other thing we're going to be using a lot this evening will be ovals, ovoids, and spheres. So we're going to be doing a lot of these. To do these freehand, like they don't have to be perfect circles or anything like that. But before you draw them, you want to kind of ghost the line a little bit. And in fact, you want to do that when you're doing the CSI stuff sometimes. Like not every time. You don't necessarily want to always like immediately put a line down. You want to kind of run your hand back and forth over the page where you're going to make a line and then make your line. Because then you can use that to visualize a better line instead of kind of guessing and not getting confidence and stuff. You'll at least like have it. It's like kind of visualizing the target before you take the shot. And also thank you Kiradel for the 100 bits. But yeah. I'm going to be trying to develop better draftsmanship habits, and I want to hopefully lead you guys in developing them with me. So two main things we're going to be practicing is CSI and ovoids. That also includes like spheres and stuff too. CSI and ovoids. I think there's probably going to be a little bit of boxes in there, just a little bit, but we'll see. But these are the main tools that we're going to be using to construct heads this evening. We're going to be using we're going to be using reference of a method from a artist named Andrew Loomis. And that is this guy here, or this guy's art and stuff. Drawing the Head and Hands by Andrew Loomis is the main book that you want to pull from. This is a public domain book, so you should be able to find it pretty easily by Googling around. But you can also get a physical copy of this, and also official PDF copies if you want to pay for them. In any case, like what you're seeing here is kind of what we're going to be, a little bit of what we're going to be doing. The Andrew Loomis head that Proco went over that I played at the beginning of the class is essentially like this basic structure right here that you're seeing. You start off with like a sphere, you chop off the sides of the sphere, and then you use the sphere to kind of measure a general, like the general like kind of placement of the features and the proportions of the face and such. Like, so you can see that right here, like chopping off the sides of this sphere, and you have this axis on it where you can figure out like the angle of the head. The reason why you chop off the sides of it is because, like, take a look at the skull right here. If I can bring one up. Take a look at like how the skull works right here. You see those side planes of this like this simplified human skull right here? That's essentially what this method is kind of mimicking. Like the side planes of your head they're not perfectly like chopped off sides, flat. They're not like perfectly flat chopped off sides. Nothing really is. Like the head is an organic form. So this is a kind of an abstract, simplified idea to, this is like an abstract, simplified idea. Yeah, if you have the PDF, you can link it in my Discord. Please don't link it in the Twitch, though. But yeah, like this head, like this head is like, this is a simplified version of the organic form, but it's more complex and stuff. But it kind of shows you like the head isn't quite like a oval shape. It's kind of like this, it's almost kind of like a football sort of shape that kind of like rounded at the end and stuff. This human skull is way more complex than even this. So the whole point of using these abstract forms is to kind of get us a little measuring ballpark so we can sort of use that to create like the base structure of the face, to create an illusion of a head. And that's the principles like this and like methods and approaches to drawing are like all throughout how you draw figures or anything really. So we're going to be walking through one of these systems today with Andrew Loomis. And I've got a bunch of content that I've already yoinked. This is not the Loomis book, but this is a bunch of stuff that I yoinked from the web using the PureRef app. And that's very important. I'm going to have you guys download the PureRef app right here, which is I've got on screen. So download this because I'm going to be uploading a file to Discord right here. Also, there's another thing here. The Sketchfab folder collection I have with a bunch of 3D models that we're going to be using tonight. That's also in my drawing classroom corner right here. Also, Kamishi, I had to server mute you, but please like let me know later. Let me know later if you get your mic sorted, and then I can unmute you. All right, so let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah, the PureRef file I have is in my gesture folder collection right here. Heads, drawing heads, Loomis head. There's a Loomis mood board I made that I exported. But yeah, here's the Loomis heads right here. And that's just an entire PureRef file that has like 16 gigabytes worth of images, mostly Loomis heads. There's some other things in there. There's a few kind of Riley method heads, which Riley method is another method that sort of builds off some of the ideas of Loomis and does more complex things with it. But there's a little bit of that in this folder too, but it's mostly like Andrew Loomis heads and stuff. But if you want like an explanation from Loomis, you can read the Loomis book that I showed, drawing the head and hands. It's actually drawing the head and hands with like in small text, because like the focus of the book is definitely not on hands, but there is some good stuff on hands. Yeah, there's the PDF right there if you want it. It's public domain, so it should be fine. So let's see here. Like now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk through doing some warm-ups together. And I'm going to be starting to sprinkle. I wanted to do a draw box thing with you all, but instead of that, I'm going to start sprinkling little bits of the draw box lessons throughout the study sessions that I do with you, instead of having a formal class. So what I want you guys to do is to check out the draw box website, because we'll be looking and referring to this to how to better approach our draftsmanship. I want you to take a peek at the getting started section. I want you to look through this on your own. I want you to in-depth start with lesson 0 and read through this. I already have, but I'm going to do a quick Cliff Notes version of things to for this class, but I want you guys to spend time on your own really reading this and slowing down. But the main thing we're going to be doing right now, we're going to be doing some of the line, we're going to be doing some of the line drill warm-ups here, and we're also going to be using their drawing from the arm approach. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to be doing this draw between 2 points exercise right here. Alexa, how much time left on timer? Alexa, how much time left on timer?
You have 10 minutes left on your 20-minute timer.
Okay, I think we might have to extend that a bit. Alexa, add 10 minutes to timer. Alexa, add 10 minutes to timer.
10 minutes added. You now have about 20 minutes and 41 seconds left.
That's good. So now we got 20 minutes to warm up. So what we're going to be doing, start off, I want you to make on your page a bunch of horizontal dots like this. And I want you to connect them smoothly. Like they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be perfect as long as you're not like doing little hatchy lines and stuff. You want to use your shoulder. You want to draw from your shoulder to make continual lines. Now the thing about drawing continual lines is you have particular angles where you'll be better at it. If you are left-handed like me, you will want to be pulling from the right to the left like that. And also in general, you will be able to pull smoother lines going straight down. What that means is you can, if you want to get a line at a particular angle, you can rotate the canvas like that. And if you're doing it on like, let's say like you're doing it on a figure drawing pad, like one of those giant size figure drawing pads that's in like figure drawing classes, what you'll usually see is you'll see the artist actually like raise up their arm and their shoulder and actually like tilt their body and stuff to get a better angle when they're pulling a stroke. So you can do that a little bit digitally. Depends on how big your drawing space is. But what I want you to do is we're gonna just like fill up a section of your page, drawing like 2 dots and drawing lines between, just drawing a smooth line between them. Like there's a kind of a sweet spot between too fast and too slow. Like if you go like that, you're gonna get like really bad results. But if you go too slow, it's gonna kind of like waver and stuff. Like because you're gonna get hand jitters. So you want to kind of like figure out what your sweet spot is. And they're not going to be perfect lines because you're doing these freehands. These are freehand lines. Like you're gonna be beaten by a ruler, but you can use this to draw stuff quickly and get kind of relatively straight lines and stuff. So here's another version of the exercise right here. We're not going to be doing this one though. Okay, so this is a little bit on like you want to be using your shoulder pivot instead of like if you must, it's okay to use the elbow as your pivot point. But you want to, when you're drawing, you want to keep full range of motion. You don't want to have your elbow propped up on anything because that can wreck your wreck the nerve tendon, the nerve ending that's runs along your elbow, and can screw up your hand. Because the nerve that goes along your elbow connects all the way up to your hand. You want to put as little pressure as possible on your wrist and your elbow. You want to take the lion's share of it up in your shoulder, because you'll be able to. Because it's kind of like when your hand is steady and not really doing much, and it's being driven by your shoulder, you get steadier, more controlled lines. it's going to take some getting used to, by the way. Like your shoulder muscles and your shoulder dexterity won't be particularly built up when you first start doing this, for doing this kind of thing. But like this is me drawing from my wrist right here. I don't have quite as much range either. I mean, I can kind of get sort of flowy lines, but here's what happens when I draw from my shoulder. But yeah, so let's see here. Last homework. Let's take a look at what their homework are. 2 pages of ghosted lines, superimposed lines. Okay, they're superimposed lines. They for this exercise is pretty straightforward. As shown here, start out with a simple straight line with a ruler. In this case, I can do digitally like that. I'm gonna lower the opacity down. I'm gonna use a different color actually. Lower opacity. New layer. And what they want you to do now I want you to draw directly on top of that guy and then repeat this freehand stroke 8 times. All right. So I'm going to grab this, one of the pens that I'm planning on using tonight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I put in 9. I don't know why, but I did. So I'm going to make a few more of these. Whoops. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't worry, we'll be getting into head drawing after like the 20-minute timer counts down. This is just our warm-ups. We're getting used to controlling our lines. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna leave it there actually on this. Let's see here. So we should also do the same thing with, let's see. Grab that. Gonna maybe do a few C curves and S curves and stuff. Kind of like what he has on this. Oops, wrong pen. Where's the right pen? Yeah. Just shrink the size. Okay. So there's an S curve, C curve, S curve, S curve. It's kind of a swirly C curve, C curve, C curve, C curve. And now same deal. Whoops. Wrong pen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, this one's gonna be tricky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oops. 1, 2, oops, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh. All right. Let's see how much time we've got left. Alexa, how much time left on timer? Alexa, how much time left on timer?
You have 10 minutes left on your 30-minute timer.
Cool. All right, let's see here. Did they go over any ellipses? I don't think they go over it in this chapter, but ellipses are going to be something that we're going to be using. So let's take a look and see what they got. When you're doing the actual draw box things on your own, you don't want to be skipping around like what I'm doing. I'm just kind of utilizing some of the stuff from it this evening for the purposes of this session. Yeah, okay, it's not that one. Texture detail. You see your arm. Ellipses, here we go. All right, there's a whole thing on the anatomy of an ellipse and stuff in here. Essentially, we're going to be doing like a lot of spheres and ellipses and stuff. We're making things. A sphere is just an ellipse that has dimension to it, essentially. Or like a perfect circle, a circle that has dimension to it. But an ellipse is something that would cut into it. Like I've got a sphere there, and I've got a circle there, and I turn it into a sphere by cutting an ellipse into it, like that. Another ellipse here. And our ellipses don't have to be really perfect, but if you're pretty comfortable with like this and this so far, we're going to get some freehand ellipses in. So I want you to start to I want you to make like ellipse forms freehand. That means like you are gonna want to make pretty like evenly distributed circle ones like this. You're gonna want to be making ovoids that are like kind of stretched out. Just like get a variety of them at different shapes. I kind of messed that one up, didn't I? And it's okay if there's spillover when you're doing these, because like you kind of need to do a little bit of spillover when you're doing ellipses, just inherently. Because you kind of need to feel them out and kind of get them in the ballpark a little, kind of like get them into the ballpark a bit, because they're tricky unless you have an ellipse guide. And the ellipses don't have to be perfect. You just want to get them reasonable.
Is there a preferred way to actually do ellipses, like clockwise or counterclockwise?
Depends on what you like. If you're left or right-handed, it really depends. And for different people, it kind of varies. But in my case, like counterclockwise with my left hand works pretty well. It might work clockwise with people with their right hand. I think I know why that is. It's because of like the range of motion you get. Because you're kind of pulling away from it. If you're left-handed and you're doing it counterclockwise versus right-handed, you have to kind of push inward towards your body a bit, especially when you're going over the top like that. But like if you're left-handed and you're doing it that way, it's kind of pulling away from your body and then coming up. Stuff. In general, like you can tend to pull better lines if you are like pulling towards yourself versus pushing. So that's why like drawing downwards like this, generally kind of, or like this, for example, like this kind of cascading waterfall sort of thing going down the page, generally feels better and smoother to do than like if you went upwards like that. That feels really awkward. Really depends though, like certain angles of the lines feel better to pull from. Like that feels pretty good for me because I'm pulling inwards to my body right there when I'm doing that. Versus like this feels a little awkward, kind of like pulling away from body and that's because I'm left-handed. And if you're right-handed, it'd probably be the opposite. This is also why like there's a lot of artists. There's a manga artist in Japan. Actually, a lot of artists do this too. A lot of comic artists in particular. But he always draws heads only from one side. When he's got like 3/4 heads and stuff like that, or profile heads, and then he flips them. The reason why he does that is it's the difference between pushing your pen against something or pulling it, for creating the structure and the penmanship for the head. Like his head, his head's like he showed it off too. Like his heads tend to look a little bit wonky compared to when he his heads tend to look a little bit wonky when he draws them from the other angle. And this is a guy who's like super high level. That's the what's his name? The artist who does Crying Freeman. Let's see here, Crying. Hopefully there's no non-work safe stuff. Ryochi Ikigami. I'm going to bring that off screen so we don't see anything non-work safe. Let's see if I can find a good page that really shows off some of his head drawing. Also, it's hard to tell. It's like because he was one of like the early wave 90s and a little. Whoa, that is a breasticle right there. Whoopsie. But he's one of the early wave manga artists that got published in the U.S. in especially like the 90s and late 80s. So like there's a lot of his, like if you look around for his work, you'll often find like versions of it that have been like flipped for publication in the US. So it's kind of hard. So like if I was going to look for examples of that sort of thing, that would be kind of hard to find. But anyways, you can see like my after doing like those exercises and stuff, like this feels a lot more confident to me than when I started. So just keep doing that, like do ellipses. I would even say like you could do something like this. You draw 2 ellipses right here and here. And also like those little crisscross patterns that I put it in here. Doing basically like this, lighting the minor and major axis to show the angle of the ellipse. I'm gonna say like you can do 2 ellipses like this, and then you can connect them with a tube, something like that. Then you can just draw like some rough ellipses like that in between them. Doesn't have to be anything major. We're just getting warmed up here. There's also another exercise you can use, the tornado technique. Tornado technique is essentially a continuous line exercise where you basically create a real-time ellipse and stuff like that. You can actually use it for figures, like something like this. See. But the tornado technique is it's a continuous line exercise where you can change the direction of the line in of the form, and you kind of use it to sort of feel out 3D forms. Like for example, let's see, this is the top of a torso right here. But and like this is like a top of a torso that's kind of bending over like this towards us. It's the top of the neck. Then I'm gonna kind of like do like cylinders for the head. But anyway, I'm just giving a little taste of this. This is something that's more figure drawing oriented, but this is still based like in the idea of the ellipse. Alexa, stop. Alexa, set timer for 5 minutes. Alexa, set timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, starting now.
Jonathan Boy 66. Yo, what's up? Yeah. Yeah, someone I played Rust with a year ago has showed up. That's cool. Yeah, I still play Rust, just not as much. I'm planning on playing it more because there's a lot more people getting into the game now because of like the crazy live. Let me show you real quick. Like, there's a bunch of Spanish live streamers that have started doing it in addition to like US live streamers, but this is what's going on right now on Twitch. Rust is 500,000 viewers. It was like 1.1 million viewers for a few days this last week also. But this Rust has been way overdue for attention lately. Anyway, I'm not going to go too much more into this, but basically it's a good game with a good gameplay loop, blah blah blah. I might play it on stream in the future or with viewers because there's enough, like, Rust servers are large enough that like we could all go to like a PvE server for like the newer people to learn the mechanics, and I'll give people tutorials and then tutorials on how to play, and then we can go do oil rig or military tunnels and stuff. I might do that in the future for fun, but in any case, all right. So you can rest for the next 5 minutes or so, because one of the things I want to bring back to our study sessions is 25 minute, usually 20 to 25 minute periods of practice, followed by like 5, sometimes even 10 minutes of rest and like rehydration and bathroom or whatever else you need to do. Get up and walk around. I'm actually going to do that myself. I'm going to grab some water. But after our break is over, we're going to get started on some Andrew Loomis heads. That'd be one of these guys right here, which I'm starting to get back in the groove of drawing. So we'll be doing that after we get back from the 5-minute break. I'm just going to grab some water, but then I'll be back here and I'll answer questions before we get started again. Also, if you have any questions, you can feel free to speak up. Oh, wow, quite a big turnout. You can feel free to speak up in voice chat or text chat if you prefer. But in any case, we're going to get started pretty soon. What we're going to be doing first off is using this tool right here to get the Loomis, to get like the basic idea of the Loomis head from different angles. Ironically, the easiest one to start with is the 3/4 angle. The hardest angle to do is actually straight on because it has to be symmetrical. And profile's not that hard. It really depends. Weirdly, like 3/4 tends to feel a little bit feel a little bit better, but excuse me, I can hear myself. Yeah, please watch that. Thunderclay. I'm gonna have to. Yeah, thank you. Alexa, stop. All right, so Alexa, set timer for 25 minutes.
25 minutes, starting now.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk through a Loomis ahead from 3/4 to start off. So I want you guys to all follow along with me on this. If you're pretty comfortable and familiar with the Loomis head, consider this a refresher and a way to kind of get a good strong start. If you're comfortable with these, you can do multiples of these. Just make sure you're slowing down to do it right. So that's one of the things I want you guys to do. I want you to really, really slow down when we're doing these. I'm going to be trying to make an effort because going too fast is a habit I'm trying to break. So first off, what do we do when we start? When we're going to be doing an ellipse, we ghost the line, kind of like what I'm doing right now. Kind of get that arm motion going and stuff, and sort of visualize on the paper a circle before we put the line down. And then when you're ready, put the line down. You can start putting the line down. Of course, there's going to be spillover because like my measurement is off, and also because I'm working digitally instead of traditionally, so it's a little bit tricky. I kind of have to compensate for it a bit. So I'm going to maybe kind of erase some of the spillover a little bit, kind of get it more a little bit in the ballpark of an ellipse. And I'm not too worried about it being perfect. So as long as it's working. All right, so now that I have this ellipse, I want to get the side plane of the head. The side plane of the head is usually going to be about like 2/3 the size of this ellipse. So like if this thing was down here, it'd be like about like that big or so. But in this case, we're going to place it like how it is there. So, and it's not going to be an exact copy, mind you. So again, this is just we're going to get it in the ballpark, like ballpark estimates here. That's what we're going for. Whoops. So again, whoops, I made the mistake of not ghosting my line first. So ghost your line and run it around before you put the mark down a bit. Or if you do put your mark down, make sure it's a really light touch. So I got something that's kind of working here. Sharpen that up a little bit. So now I got an ellipse within an ellipse. Now my next step is I'm going to create a straight line that cuts across the halfway. And that straight line is very important because that's telling me what angle this head is tilted. Oops, I'm actually going to adjust something real quick here. Because if you notice, like this is at a weird angle right here, because again I'm drawing digitally, so I'm kind of having to compensate for being at a weird angle here, where I'm sitting in front of my drawing display. So I'm gonna have to make little adjustments like that when I notice something like that is out of whack. So there we go. That's roughly about halfway. Maybe it's a little high. But that's I'm going to keep that like pretty parallel right here. And then we get another line here that's kind of like at a right angle to that one. That describes the side plane of the head right there. So the next step is we're creating the brow line of the head. And what that is you can see on the reference here on the right, this line is wrapping over the front of the face around the other side to another one of these on the other side. So keep that in mind. It's like kind of it's curving over the face as if there was like another ellipse that went through the face and then got cut off at the side where the side plane is chopped off. Oops. So then next thing we want to do is we get to the top plane of the head. This is going to be a curving line that curves over the top plane of the head. Starts there and curves over the top of the head. Using that, we can kind of infer the top point of the head, which is roughly going to be about like the peak of where this, because if this head was like tilted backwards or something like that, then the top plane of the head would be something like this. Like the axis. Look for basically like the top plane of the head is going to be where that axis is at the top of the head. You can see in some of the Andrew Loomis reference a little bit of that right there. But yeah, so using that, we're going to create a line that kind of curves down the front of the face like that, somewhere around, and like comes down around like halfway between the face and stuff. Of course, like if you notice, like right here, there's like less distance between here and here versus distance between there and there. So you can kind of ballpark guesstimate, see right here, about where to place that, especially if you're using reference like this. So then you drop this line down, you drop a straight line down like that. We're not going to worry about where that ends right now. We're just going to leave that as it is. But next thing is, this is a Andrew Loomis, and this is a Proco net thing. We can find roughly about where the nose is, the bottom of the nose is, using the bottom of that sphere right there. Bottom of the nose is going to be about like right there-ish. And wouldn't you know it, we have our first third of the face to measure off of. Now another thing we can also do to find another third of the face is we create a diagonal line that goes between side plane like this. And this is something that I got from Watts Atelier. We use that, and then we curve a line over the top of the head like that. That creates the hairline right there. And then roughly, when we extrude that 3D shape of the hairline coming off the brow down to here, we get another third of the face. And then now we can use these thirds to create another third right here, and we use that to measure about where the bottom of the chin is. So keep in mind, this line right here, hairline, nose line. That hairline is also the top of the ear, by the way. Anyway, next thing you can do is, here's another trick right here, finding the angle of the jaw. Just kind of use like the back angle of the head, or the back angle of the side plane of the head. And then you can use that to kind of guesstimate the sweep of the jaw a little bit. Now the width of the chin is a little tricky, but we're going to kind of get it in a ballpark estimate. I'm going to say the corner of the chin should be about like right there. There we go. We got like a basic Loomis head construction. Another couple of details I want you to note. If you want to, the brow line isn't the hair. See, that's not the hairline. That's the brow. That's the hairline right there. But one thing to note. The eye line is not the hairline, and the eye line does not use the front thirds of the face. The eye line uses the halfway point between the top of the head and the bottom of the chin. Cut about halfway across the face, and the eyes are going to be in there somewhere. Those of you who are familiar with the Ethan Becker wedge that we've used before can use this as an opportunity to quickly practice it. But you guys remember what it is. Where you like start with like, whoops. Where you kind of start with a shape like this, like building off the side plane of the head. Like that Ethan Becker wedge is a way to kind of simplify the idea of the structures of something that like a Loomis head would describe, but shorthanded. It's this kind of Muppet mouth effect, basically. But you can throw that in there if you like. Anyway. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a straight-on head. Alexa, how much time left on timer?
You have 13 minutes left on your 25-minute timer.
Cool. I think we have enough time to do a straight-on. And then we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll do a profile view. So, for the rest of this demo, I'm going to actually use the measurements that I made of that first drawing to do a head turnaround. Alright, and I'm going to check Discord real quick. Also, again, you feel free to speak up in voice and ask questions or banter or whatever. This is not a formal class. This is a study session, by the way. Like, we're all kind of getting warmed up, so we should be kind of loosening up and talking when people feel comfortable. All right, so...
Do proportions change when you do like different weights and stuff like that?
How do you mean by weights?
Like if they have a chubby face or if they have a skinny face.
It's tricky. I mean, the proportions change depending on the overall face structure. What you're seeing in change when somebody has a chubby face versus a skinny face is there's less body fat, or a bit less body fat, or in some cases muscle or just meat and skin in general on top of the skull. So like if someone has like a double chin or something like that, that can kind of throw it off. But if you stripped away the flesh from the face, they have roughly about the same proportions with their skull. But here's the thing: caricature can distort that stuff, and sometimes caricaturing or stylizing of a character type and stuff will integrate like those kind of distorted exaggerations into the proportions of the face itself. So those can vary if you're caricaturing. But in those can vary if you're caricaturing, like the bones will actually have the structure, the distortions built into them, or they can vary in just particular people's facial types, because some people will have like Andrew Loomis' head is like an average generic abstract head. So and like not everyone is built like that, but it is a measurement tool to kind of gauge, and you can use it to just you can distort the Loomis head to get different types. Proco actually has some video stuff on that. That's really good. Anyway, so we got a straight on Loomis head now. If you notice, I've kind of jumped right into it where I started with a sphere, and I cut across it with this. Of course, I already knew where the bottom of my chin is, but let's just pretend that I didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of like guesstimate, like same thing, like the top and the bottom of the side plane of the head is roughly about like 2/3 total size of like the sphere. So about like this far in, something like that. And it's mirrored on the other side. The reason why drawing a straight on head is tricky is because it has to be symmetrical. And it's especially it's maybe going to be a little less apparent when you're doing a Loomis head, just how tricky it is to do a straight on view. But it's really more, it becomes way more apparent when you're doing a straight on view face of a realistic person, because of like, you know, uncanny valley effect and whatnot. So what I got here is essentially like there's like side planes of the heads are sort of like wrapping over there, and it's doing this. I can find it. Actually, like, you know, this guy right here shows off a little bit of what I'm trying to go for, somewhat. But so we can find a skull here that shows. Oh yeah, here we go. You can get that skull straight on here. Just about, but you can see like I'm trying to like use these to sort of mimic what's going on with a skull a little bit. So sometimes I tend, when I'm doing straight ons of Loomis heads, I'll curve inwards like that on the sides. In any case, we know where the bottom of the nose is because this is the bottom of where that that side plane is. We know that the top of the ear is like right here. Of course, we're not drawing ears right now, but that's good. That's something you want to keep in mind. The sides of this head are actually like chopped off, so I'm just going to like lightly erase some of it without, you know, completely getting rid of my scaffolding of the drawing. But let's see here. But yeah, like I'm going to be taking like the side planes of the head and coming down off them, angling them inward a bit, like that, on either side. And then we have this side plane right here. It's coming down to the sides of the chin, something like that. This is pretty sloppy, but it's the general idea.
So where that jaw comes down, would that be like part of the thirds or the halves of the head?
For the jaw?
Yeah, like how you knew where to stop before you brought it into the chin?
Well, I didn't. I was kind of eyeballing it, but there is a
Oh,
method for it. I should have made a note about that. But yeah, like, yeah, I'm just kind of eyeballing it right now. But like you can see like on the reference here, like the angled jaw. I'm just using 2 angles on this right here versus like this one here. Here's one that only uses like almost on almost one angle right here. This is actually a Loomis based 3D model head right here. But I'm kind of mimicking something along these lines. I'm sort of just using my general sense of like about where I think the corner of the jaw would be based on observation. The important stuff to get is the thirds of the face and like the general measurements of the hairline and so on, and like the overall kind of symmetry of the face. Oh, another thing to note is if you want to include like a neck on these, like I wouldn't really go too complicated. You can just include like a little bit of a C curve in here, a couple of C curves. Like that. We're not going to be going too much into neck anatomy today, although we will in the future because that was part of my torso anatomy studies from last semester. So anyway, Alexa, how much time left on timer?
You have 5 minutes and 10 seconds left on your 25-minute
Wow,
timer.
really? Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go for the profile view, too. It's like the sooner we get this done, the sooner we can start like doing freehand drills with this stuff. You know, freehand drills and like draw over drills and other things with it. Nope, it's not gonna work. Let me try this actually. Duplicate. That works. All right, so profile view. This one's actually going to be a little bit easier. But profile view, same measurement. We start with a sphere, roughly about like the same size sphere. I got a little sloppy about ghosting my lines, so I'm going to slow down and erase some of my spillover. But anyway, we cut down halfway through the face. Just going to bring it all the way down. Then we get like a, then we get an ellipse inside the ellipse. Cut halfway across there. And it's the same deal. So this head is going to be facing that way. I've sort of already kind of like drawn like perfect line, like parallel lines going through the face and stuff. But like those, just remember that these are curving over the sides of a sphere. So we got the top of the head. There's the hairline. That's the brow line. Bottom of the nose. Actually, no, wait, that's not the bottom of the nose. This is the bottom of the nose. Right here. My bad. And I believe that the measurements on this are a little bit off. But I can fix that by, let's see here. I think I have to bring it up in size just a little. That's pretty in the ballpark now. I'm getting some pretty sloppy line work on this thing, so I'm going to knock back it with a little bit of eraser work. And I'm just going to draw some more controlled lines over it. All right, so now that we got this basic structure, We know about where the nose is. We know about where the nose is right there. We know about where the brow line versus the hairline is about there. And the chin, same story. I think is some little bit of off measurements on this versus the other drawing here, so maybe let's bring that up a little bit. It's not going to be perfect though, so I didn't like perfectly measure this out. So just as long as you get the basic idea of it, you should be able to like use these as like a measuring device. So next week we're going to be doing more of these plus some additional information with them. This is just a warm-up week, but I'm going to be using them a little bit more to kind of break down the face more and like place features in them and stuff next week. And also like different, we're going to be playing with different head types using Loomis. I'm just going to throw the nose in right there for fun. Alexa, stop. But it's the same thing, like when you're like doing like the sweep of the chin, you do this kind of like S-curve thing that uses like the side plane of the head there, coming down to the corner of the jaw. You can use this kind of sweeping S-curve motion on the front of the face, or the this, like there's an S-curve there and there's an S-curve there. Like you can either do it like a perfect straight line like it is in the reference, or you can use kind of a curve like that. But yeah, this is the basic idea right here. I'm going to copy paste this into chat so you guys can refer to the general idea of what we're doing this evening.
Does it explain in the book why on that
Loomis book?
that concave part of the front of the face like works, or where you go from that?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
That's not necessarily the focus of today, though. We're just trying to get the basic structure of the head. The Ethan Becker method that we did the other week here kind of really plays with that some more. But let's see here. So I think I have a mood board of Loomis heads that we can use for some study fodder. So let me bring that up real quick. Alexa, set timer for 4 minutes.
4 minutes, starting now. By the way, you can ask me how much
Alexa,
time
stop. Jesus Christ. Alexa, stop. Just stop.
I like your tone of voice when you talk to her. Alexa, stop! Gosh.
Yeah, I do still have the Google, but the Google needs to be reconnected to the home Wi-Fi.
I don't want to say her name too much because then mine will start acting up too.
Yeah, be careful about that if you get a digital assistant. You're listening to me. So, here, check this out. I've got this page of a lot of Loomis stuff, some Proco Loomis stuff, and some other Loomis things. And this is good study fodder to do draw-over studies or side copy studies. And check this out. Here's a quick dirty method to doing side studies on when you get like. So check out this page right here. I created this using a mood board export thing in the PureRef thing, where you go save, export. You can either export as images into a folder, or you can export as scene. I exported this as scene, so it's just this whole thing like here. And now I've imported it into a drawing program. And now I can just go right in and just like pick and choose what I want to do studies of. But there's not a lot of space in here for me to do like studies on the side, is there? So what I can do is I can do like this. And then let's like lock that. And I get a new layer here. And now I can do some like studies on the side here.
Oh, that's neat.
And it doesn't matter if these are pixely right here. So I'm just trying to get like the basic idea of stuff. But yeah, like the stuff from the Loomis book, I'm not really assigning homework per se, but I'm going to give you guys some some strongly suggested practice. One of those strongly suggested practices is like copying heads from the Loomis book, and also reading the text in Loomis, and walking through this method. Also, like a Proco's guide on this is really essential. Like I would say, even copying Proco's heads. So, I mean, you can do draw. I think you should do a mix of draw over studies and copy studies. And I'm doing a copy study right now where I'm actually like building more information off of it than there is in this case. Remember, like when you do the copy studies, the point should not be to like perfectly replicate the thing. The point is for you to try to understand. So like in this case, I built off it more than what is there. But there is some little bits of important information. Loomis in the book, he talks about other ways you can kind of simplify the head a bit. Like we're looking at here, like he's showing you how you start with the head like this, and then you add more information to it. Then you add more information to it. You can copy this stuff too from the book. You can even copy like the eyes and the other things like that. Like I want you to jump around, and when you're doing your studies. Like you don't have to formulaically practice the Loomis head every time, but Alexa, stop. But you want to kind of be like dancing between stuff, and you want to like if in order to like simplify what you're studying, you want to be able to have something like this that you can fall back on while you're studying. Like some kind of simple, repetitive thing that you can do over and over again, so you don't overcomplicate things. But feel free when you're studying and practicing to like dance around. So what I'm going to have people do, I'm going to put up, I'm going to show you some of the practice methods you can use for this. I've got the PureF file in here. For the next 25 minutes or so, we're going to be like just taking it at our own pace of doing it. I want you guys to, on your own, you can either watch me or you can on your own do copy studies like these, or draw over studies where you might like, take something like this. Like here's Loomis right here. Okay, I'm going to do a draw over study now of Loomis head. Why doesn't that let me do that? The fuck? Oh, that's why. Okay. So for example, like I've got this Loomis head at this angle right here. Okay. I'm gonna walk through a little bit of this. Like it looks like his sphere right here. You can see the dotted line right there where he kind of like carved into it a little bit. So I'm just gonna make a sphere around like this. And of course I have this way blown up on my screen, so I'm able to like use my whole arm on this. Then I got the side plane. You just kind of want to dance into this stuff. Like you want to like kind of get loosened up with it. You don't want to be sloppy if you can help it, but you want to kind of like ease into it and start getting your energy up while you're doing it. And the point of doing drawovers like these is to sort of walk yourself through gauging another person's draftsmanship so that you can build your own confidence. Ideally, you're going to want to do a mix of original drawings and draw over studies. So let's see, I'm gonna alter his thing slightly because I like using the side plane of the head a little bit. That kind of like S curve off the cheek. Do that a little bit. And I'm adding in little bits of information I know about, like some of this is like some of the stuff I saw in some of Proko's videos for how he handles like the top plane of the head. But that's an example of like doing a draw over study. I'll do another one here. The cool thing about draw over studies is like you can do them even when you've got like the lowest possible energy. Like if you're really not feeling it, but you still need to get your daily drawing practice in. Just do a bunch of draw over studies. Like break down stuff into simple shapes. Observe line of action or gesture, or like draw cube forms or sphere forms over something. Try to find like the side plane of a head, the details of anatomy, anything really. There's going to be a lot of times when you're working professionally that you're not feeling it. And having a way to fall back to get good results out of your drawing, even on the days when you're not feeling it, is a mark of a good professional. That's something I'm working on getting better at. So if you notice on this head that I'm doing right here, there's a lot of like, you see like this little thing back there, you see like there's like these other kinds of like rhythms and lines that are going through the face that aren't quite Loomis. That, like this one rhythm right here, this is a Riley method head actually that I'm drawing over here, but I'm using a Loomis head on top of it. Riley method is another approach to head and figure drawing, which we're going to be getting into more in the future. And also in this case, the Loomis head gets distorted because the jaw is open. So the proportions are going to be a little different, because the jaw is hinging open right now. I'm kind of wrapping the eye line over the head. It's wrapping over the head. Got the center line right here. I'm actually using the Ethan Becker thing of like the center line kind of becomes a 3D form on the front of the face. In this case, it's actually a matter of tracing almost, tracing pretty much because like it's already there on this drawing that I'm doing the study on. You can also see a little bit of like the form of the Ethan Becker wedge in here. A little bit. We'll be doing a review of the Ethan Becker wedge probably next week too, in addition to more Loomis stuff, because I want to kind of combine the two. What time is it? Cool. We're not going to go too much more tonight, but I wanted to give people a good starting point. We're going to probably go about another like half hour to 45 minutes. Normally my classes are close to around 3 hours, but I want to kind of like, this is a warm-up night. So we're just kind of dipping our toes in this stuff, and I want to give people a starting point to work with. As per usual, this is a study session. This is not a serious class, and not that that really matters. But we're all here to kind of learn and practice together. This is an excuse to get some practice mileage in for all of us, myself included. But it's no pressure. We're getting warmed up and stuff together. I want to just give people enough tools to play with throughout the week to get kind of like ease either back into drawing or try this method that they may have never tried before and get used to it. I want people to, anyone who's in here, I want you to be practicing Loomis heads until you're blue in the face, basically. I want you to like use the 3D tools. Like you can have a sheet like this, be doing draw over or copy studies like that, like this kind of stuff. Like here, like I'm just kind of like filling the gaps on like where the jaw connects, for example, on this guy. Bottom of the nose, add a little Ethan Becker wedge face in there. I'm not gonna mess with that too much more, but you can use the reference that I got, and also like the Proco video stuff that we watched early on at the start of the class. I want people ideally to, let's see here. Let me show you like what I was up to last semester or last year on my Patreon here. Let's see, published posts. Let's see. I think I got some examples here. This was like way back last year. Yeah, my line confidence has definitely improved since then. But let's see. There's some skulls. This is a preview of some of the kind of stuff we're going to be doing later in future sessions, like skull structure, for example. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. So this is an entire sheet of Loomis, freehand Loomis heads I did. I want you guys doing stuff like this, or warming up to doing stuff like this, where you do so many Loomis heads, they become second nature. Just from all kinds of different angles and stuff, like get used to like varying the angles and so on. In fact, I think there's like, I think if I was going to do more of these, I'd want to like use a 3D reference tool and spin the Loomis head to angles that I'm not used to. Because I do see I'm not using, there's like a lot of extreme angles that I didn't use in this page of studies I did. Yeah, I did these during the Lightbox Expo, while I was talking to people in chat. In the voice chat and stuff. Yeah. It's a bunch of head drawing practice from last semester. Oh yeah, and here's the Ethan head wedge. We're going to be practicing some of this guy next week. But for this week, we are concentrating on the Loomis head. Next week, we will be still using the Loomis head, but we'll also be using the Ethan head, and maybe a little bit more of the skull. But yeah, I think I'm feeling a little confident now. I'm going to start inventing some Loomis heads. Well, let's actually bring up the this guy up in the right here. So like I'm not going to be strictly copying it, but I want to, let's see, I think I got a little thing I can pin this with. Desk pins, okay. There's an app called Desk Pins I can use to pin this to the, here, I'm just gonna have to do this again. All right, so I'll just do like a little side-by-side thing with these. And you can follow along and draw at the same angle that I'm trying to draw at. Like the point of just doing these repetitively is to kind of like wrap your head around thinking about this stuff three-dimensionally. I'm going to be doing these freehand. I'm not going to be like accurately measuring out stuff because I kind of like I already know the general measurements of a Loomis head, so I'm going to be doing what you should be doing on your own in your own sketchbook as you like get used to practicing Loomis heads. So I got this one down. I think I'm going to add like a little bit more to it. I'll add like an Ethan Becker face wedge. A little bit. Side plane of the head there. Cutting into the wedge a bit. Top plane of the head. Add a little bit of the ear there. You should be practicing these, like practicing stuff like this formally, but you should also be trying to have fun with it. Like I want people to kind of develop a sense of play with these tools because you're going to be using that for productive play to learn this stuff better and also get better results in your art. Like it'll bring life to your art if you're able to take these kind of really dry kind of very academic techniques and play with them, and or combine them with other things that helps you loosen up and play with them more. All right, so I got that head. Spin this around. I'm going to close my eyes and spin it to a random angle and see what I get. Oh, that's a bad angle. Let's try again. Bad angle. Okay, we got kind of an upwards profile view there. I'll do this one. So upwards profile that's sort of favoring a turn towards the side here. So I'm going to exaggerate that a little bit. I'm going to say, Alexa, how much time left on timer?
There are no timers set.
Didn't think so. What time is it now? It is, cool. Alexa, set timer for 25 minutes.
25 minutes, starting now.
All right, so everyone, you can follow along with what I'm doing, or you can use the reference that I posted in chat, or you can use the Sketchfab thing that I also posted in chat, and spin around to different angles. But I want you to start like getting used to like pacing yourself in your own practice.
You have a question in chat.
In Discord?
Yeah.
Can
Can
you
me to read it to you?
Yes.
Tyrone Fan says, should we do studies from live action references too?
Well, for heads specifically, you mean like photo reference? Yeah, of course. We'll be doing actually more of those next week. I'm showing you like this technique today now, mostly using drawings because, you know, because it's very, very abstract. But I could actually bring up some photos now to show you how. Well, I mean, like you can just like take a photo and then like do a draw over study, or a side by side copy study, using the angle of the head in the photo. And it's the same deal. The Proco videos actually show how to use photos a bit too. But yeah, you absolutely should be using photos as well. And keep in mind, I'm coming back to this is warm up week, and I'm coming back rusty, and I was never really that good to begin with, and I'm trying to get better. There we go.
Are you allowed to say that when you're teaching this class?
Yes.
I'm just
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm not going to be a good teacher if you can't admit you suck. I want people to do better than me. And these classes are free anyways, and I don't want to give bad, well, don't want people to like take my word as gospel. I want people to use me as an excuse to study and to go beyond me. Because I don't want you to pick up on my bad habits. I want you to like springboard some of the stuff I'm doing and study them preferably better. I don't want you to pick up on my bad habits. Excuse me. Yeah. I want you to study more diligently than even I am able to. One of the big limiting things I have with my study is like I only have so much energy. It's like I came back to art after like a period of severe illness, and so I still have energy pacing issues.
Well, welcome back.
I get that. Yeah, glad you're back doing art again.
Mm-hmm.
I get that though.
That's such a trip.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying, so no, I'm saying that's such a trip because I'm the same way. I got kind of crippled at work, and now I'm kind of back doing this full time because I can't work anymore.
What was your job?
I was I bounced around. I was in like scaffolding for about a year and a half, and then my legs gave out, and then I had to go through a really serious varicose surgery, and then it just kept going downhill from there, and I just kept taking lower and lower impact jobs until one day I just couldn't. One day I fractured my foot at work, and then all of a sudden my other leg just shut down in the middle of the physiotherapy, and that was it. Yeah, and so I went to art school for about a quarter and a half before I had to drop out, like back when I was 18, and I just decided, well, the only skills I got are art skills, so I might as well just put what energy I got left into it.
Yeah. Are you taking art school right now?
I was planning on going to Van Arts for their concept design course, but in the meantime, I'm just trying to find any kind of schooling or like cheaper options I can get my hands on until.
Well, this is the cheapest option you can get.
Yeah,
there's better people than me that are teaching free stuff like this too. I would look into some of the other live streamers that like Modern Day James and other people that do stuff like this that are way fucking better than me.
No, I'm super pumped that I was able to find this kind of thing. Sorry, go ahead. I won't take up the chat too much.
Oh no, you're good. I was just gonna say, if you're looking for something on the cheaper end for art classes, something I recently got into is Skillshare, and they have like tons of stuff, and there's coupons everywhere for it. Like I'm using one right now. I got my first 2 months free.
Sweet. I'll have to look into that because right now I'm basically just trying to teach.
I can't speak to how good or bad the quality of the Skillshare classes are, but there are some online things that I can recommend, including some like actual classes. I'll show you guys actually when we get done with this little session some of the awesome, some of the online art schools that are really worth their salt that I recommend.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be very cash money.
Yeah, I've only got really one chance of funding to make it count with what I can do. So that would be awesome to find out the right place to go.
Mm-hmm. also like speaking of like energy level, like the one of the things that I'm kind of aiming for with this is like long term. Like I want to be able to sustain doing this long term without burning myself out. And I'm slowly like in order to like get the chops up that I need in order to re-enter the industry, I need to work myself up to being able to work 8 to 10 hour work days of like just drawing and animating. And I'm slowly getting that back. It's been kind of an uphill battle this last year. It's like pacing off my energy and stuff. But I'm starting.
Well, like having
when
your own stuff on your plate on top of what happened in 2020, it's like that's a lot for anyone.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sick in 2020. 2020 was my recovery year.
Yeah, it's still a tough year. I'm glad you're doing beter though.
Yeah, no, it was tough for a lot of other reasons. There was a lot of other shit going on in my life. A terminally sick family member, and like a lot of transitional periods of other things going on in my life, and so on. But things are a lot more stable now, and I have a better setup.
That's good.
I mean, the dream would be is like if let's say like I got enough momentum so that enough people were interested in my classes and that I got enough steady donations that I could basically just make doing this and like taking online art classes my
I forgot you can donate. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
I'm on my way.
Yeah, if people do want to support the stream, they can sign up for me on Patreon. They can donate to me directly with a Ko-fi link in below in my on my Twitch page, or they can subscribe to me or send bits on Twitch.
I'm setting up Twitch donation thingy right now.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know. I'm such a boomer. I don't know how to do it.
What this Twitch subscription?
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
There's a little subscribe button, like on the Twitch
I was
page.
just gonna put my info. I don't think I put my info in yet, but
for like payment info and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. But never mind. I don't gotta worry about that.
Man, I must have dropped out before they taught me this in the school I was going to, because like I'm banging my head against the wall that I didn't learn this because this head is
well,
right.
Loomis isn't the only means of Loomis isn't the only means of learning head drawing, but they are very foundational for a lot of. Thank you, Pearly Bird, for the tier 1 sub.
For sure.
Yeah, you can
I really wish that I'd been taught this in school.
Yeah, there's so much
Loomis?
stuff that I learned online for free that was more helpful than like.
Loomis.
Well, not only they didn't.
One of the other things. So
teach
there's.
this,
I've got a list up here of a bunch of stuff that we're going to be going over. Perspective is going to be a huge thing.
I love perspective, so I'm excited.
I'm terrified but excited. I fear its power, but I'm ready for it.
As we get, I'm an animator, so like the stuff that I'm going to be teaching and the way that I'm going to be approaching. These heads are awful. I'm so out of practice. Like there's so many problems with these.
As someone who's like studied portraiture, like my main thing is portraiture, I'm interested to see some of this from an animator's perspective.
Yeah.
Like and see the differences and similarities.
So am I, and I'll let you know when I get good at it. Well, I mean, like
you're already doing awesome.
Well, I mean, like I kind of lost my rhythm years ago because like I was out of practice of it. There's like storytelling, drawing approaches and stuff that I'm gonna have to kind of rekindle and so on.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's not any shortcut to it. I'm just gonna have to walk through it, and I'm looking at I'll show you like the courses I'm looking at taking, and also if you guys send me more money, that means more every few dollars counts for me enrolling in more of these classes, so that I can get good. Yeah. E-begging for classes. So I can teach classes.
A true artist.
Yeah.
The true art of e-begging.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get that model head that you were trying to get?
I've still got the budget for that. I just haven't bought it yet because like at a certain point donations kind of dried up, and then I got kind of worried like, oh shit, if I get this, I'm not gonna have I might not have the budget to get something else that I need more. So I'm still gonna get it. But I want to see what's going to happen. I'm waiting until like I get more of a steady revenue stream before I pick that guy up again. But
It's a good plan.
I want to get him.
Yeah.
I know you've been waiting, striving.
Yeah, I remember hearing you talk about it in past streams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, it was we spotted it at the Valve offices.
Mhm.
In that little
Which model hunt are you talking about? I'm curious.
The Sorrow Head. I've got it on screen on my stream right now.
Ah.
A 3D model
Cool.
version of it.
Oh, nice.
But there's a physical. I want to get a physical version of it to use as practice from home. If I actually
You know, my husband could probably print you one. He has a 3D printer.
I from the source, because it's the right size and right quality and everything. Also, like if you printed this out, this is like a 3D modeler's conception of the Asara head. This is a pretty plausible. This one might have been. No, this one was modeled. This is a 3D modeler's conception of the Asara head. It's pretty close, and it's good enough to use as study fodder. But I want to get like the real thing. There was like somebody who actually printed up a 3D paper model of it from one of my classes. And that one seems worth actually doing as like a practice thing. Like paper craft of certain things for art as tools for artists is a great cross-training tool. Kind of the same way that sculpting is, really. Yeah, there's like when artists are trying to learn perspective, for example, they might do like papercraft stuff of like 3D boxes and other shapes. I've seen that done before. Yeah, we're just going to keep spinning around the Loomis head to different angles for the rest of the session right now. Just you can use your own 3D model, or you can use the PureRef file as study fodder. But I mean, like, if you notice, like, really it comes down to like, in order to establish a head, you just need draw a circle and then you draw a side plane. And then like everything else kind of like falls into place from there.
I definitely say I'd really been putting the cart before the horse, not figuring this out.
Like if you do that, we can kind of infer generally what direction the head is facing. Like the center line is going to be over here somewhere, but we just don't know. The only thing we don't know from these two shapes is the up and down tilt of the head, and that is established by that. But you see, like, if you put it like this, that means the head is tilted up that way instead. So down, that's up. Assuming this is the front of the face. Like so, and then like so. But that's all you need really to establish the head, and then like everything else is just kind of building off that. So did anyone get any special Christmas gifts this year?
I got a new coffee maker. Does that count?
Nice.
I got a soda stream and a shirt that fits.
I got my family is pagan, and my grandpa, he makes the family's wands for us, and he made me my family wand this year finally.
Oh, that's crazy. Right on.
Yeah, it was so cool. He's a wood carver, so he just hand carved it, and it turned out amazing. Like, I cried when I got it. It was so cool.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, I
You're a
I want to
wizard,
like
Harry.
post pictures of it because it's really cool.
10 points to Gryffindor.
I'll put them now.
This wedge thing's pretty wild too.
Kind of sucks how I can't really like Harry Potter anymore because of the authors kind of
Right.
turned out to be really gross.
Yeah.
It's not just her though. It's like there's a tremendous amount of like transphobia in the UK that's like infested like the feminist circles there.
Yeah.
Like it's queerness is like feminism like they have a bullshit version of feminism there that makes queerphobia out to be feminist.
Yeah. It's nasty.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
They used to do the same thing to gay men too, like that. They said that
Yeah.
gay men were robbing women of their femininity or vice versa.
Yeah. It's a lot more
For
alive than
lesbians.
people think. It's still a lot more alive than people think it is.
Mhm.
It sucks,
Just-
but
Trans people are like the next easy target, basically.
yeah. It sucks. I can't go outside and shit without freaking out about stuff like that. It sucks.
Yeah.
What'd you get for Christmas?
Yeah, what'd you get, Space Dad?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Well, a family member gave me $130. That's about it.
Yo, that's fire though.
Yeah.
I got the Breath of the Wild Zelda art book.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
It's really big for an art book. I'm really surprised.
Yeah. More art to look at.
Always. That's like my entire Christmas birthday Amazon gift wish list is all art books.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're so fun to look through.
They are.
I remember-
But they get really expensive.
They do. I remember like buying my first art book and like immediately being like, I'm gonna buy 20 more of these
Jeez.
when I'm not broke. Obviously.
Don't be an art book pack rat.
Yeah.
They're designed.
Hear me out. Being a hoarder.
Yeah. I would
Being
say
poor stops me from being a hoarder.
I would say don't get those unless you plan on like actually using them.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna be like if you have like gonna get one of those art books and you're gonna actually be like doing a lot of studies from it. Yeah,
right.
get
Then
it.
it's worth the purchase.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's fun to have it like as a nice to have on your shelf and stuff if you can afford it, but it's
necessary.
it's easy for artists, myself included, to like just buy tons of art books, not just art
Right.
instruction books, but like those like kind of like art of the film type books and stuff like Pixar and Disney put out, and then just like read them once and not do anything with them.
Honestly, I should probably start hoarding art books because I need something that isn't dice. Hoard.
I just got into hoarding dice. My friends just got me into D&D, and I discovered the dice hoarding.
Yeah, I started in high school and I need to stop.
Yeah.
Hoard
My-
something more useful.
Part of the reason
I
I
mean, as
started
long as you
these
have fun.
classes, by the way, was an excuse for me to break out and focus on particular books of study materials
Oh, cool.
Too,
Did
so-
you?
to like get to beat the hoarding shit.
Yeah. I know you study like Proco a lot. Are there any other artists that you're kind of like inspired by, like whose work you're inspired by? Like any like major ones that stand out for you?
Well, yeah, but we'll focus on them when we focus on them. But
Oh yeah.
and like some of them are gonna dig more into. But I mean, like, there's like a long recipe list of basically of stuff we're gonna use to study fodder, like George Bridgman, J.C. Leyendecker, Alex Ross, even Norman Rockwell. There's old Masters stuff. Steve Houston's art and his drawing instruction stuff is both for studying. Let's see. There's a lot of contemporary animator illustrators that are worth studying too. Yo Yoshinari. Anyway, I want people practicing this guy until it becomes, not until, but I want them to keep practicing it so that it becomes fluent and stays fluent. You'll have something to fall back on anytime you need to find a head angle, basically.
Oh, this is just great.
Really useful.
And we're going to be layering, adding the features into it a little bit more next week, too.
That little hairline trick that you showed at the start is pretty amazing too.
Yeah, that's one from Lott's Atelier. It also is helpful for understanding the the 3D forms a little bit better. And remember, we're not really going for perfection here. And when you're doing these sketches, you want to just start, because you're gonna pick up on stuff and see things a little bit better, a little bit clearer every time you do more of these. So you just kind of want to you want to come away from doing sessions like these with one or two things that you've gotten better at. The idea being that you're going to be doing a lot of sessions like these, and in small and large chunks. I want people to be I want you to make folders on Google Photos or something like that. Google Photos is really handy for it too, because you can access it on your smartphone or whatever. And just have sheets of that stuff either printed out or handy on a smartphone. They can go to if you got 15 minutes waiting at the dentist's office or something like that, you can break that out and study it and sketch it stuff. When you're trying to learn something and repeat it over and over again, you want to be doing that. I was doing the same thing last semester with repeating drills on doing torso anatomy. I'm going to get back into doing that too. I do remember the neck anatomy. Let me do that real quick, actually. So let's see here. I'll just do a quick Loomis head. So take a quick Loomis head, and I'll get the gesture of the neck in here. So it's three main. Okay, so there's a landmark here, two landmarks there. So about here, maybe the sternomastoid. It's gonna go down to there. That connects to the collarbone, right there with this little gap right there. On either side, just an Adam's apple right there. Okay, we'll stop.
Please log in through the Google Home app.
Shut up. Okay, Alexa, stop. Alright, so we're pretty much done for the evening. I'm going to clearly have to practice my neck anatomy again, but you have a link to the head model. It's on Sketchfab. I'll link it again in chat here. I've got a collection folder with all the 3D heads I like to use. I'm gonna there's also other stuff on Sketchfab, but don't worry if whether or not you can buy it. Buying it just means you can download it to a drawing program. You can use the preview function to spin the head around to different angles and stuff like this. And that's all you really need for this practice. What time is it? 7:24. I'm gonna encourage people to post it. Well, anyway, basically what I've done here is what I want you guys doing, except you can add more features to them and stuff to start placing the features and so on. Remember, like the that line right, this line right here is not the eye line. That's the brow line. And remember, the way that you figure out where the eye line is you take the top, and in this case, because this is like a 3D shape, we have to like use the top and the bottom plane in 3D here, but we get like this halfway point here, use the same angle here, and about somewhere in there would be the eye line on this head. Maybe a little lower, actually. But the rough estimate of where the eye line is about halfway between the top and the bottom plane of the head. So keep that in mind when you're placing the eyes. It's going to be, you can guesstimate, it's going to be a little lower than the brow line usually. Just start practicing these. Like, you copy these from observation. Try inventing them yourself. Try adding features to them. And do a little bit of these each day between now and next week. That'll be on you to practice these, whatever else you're trying to learn. Eventually these will be muscle memory for you. They are for me, and it doesn't take me that long to get warmed up into doing them again. And other drawing devices like these, I and you are going to be practicing these throughout the next semester. Like getting more second nature about a Riley method head, for example, or a Disney animator simplification of the head, for example. Speaking of Riley method, I'm going to run through some Riley method rhythms I have some very vague muscle memory of right now. As you can see, I'm out of practice on this, but like there's like memory of what to do next because I've done this before. And like the basic idea is that we're going to be using this as a scaffold for a lot of other things, or a point of reference for other things. There's going to be ways we can simplify our approach, and we won't even have to draw the Loomis head every single time to do stuff. But like you can have it in the back of your head to use as a measurement tool for other things that you're going to draw, for other approaches that you're going to take for drawing the head. Practicing hair is one of those things that I want to actually make a priority this this semester. I have not practiced hair in forever, so you have to forgive me about sucking ass at that. But yeah, another thing you can do is like you see what I'm doing right now. I'm just like taking the Loomis heads I drew and like using them to like build like super quick character face doodles on. Oops, I fucked up those lips. But in any case, like one of the reasons why I have people approach this method is one of the artists I really admire, Matt Rhodes, uses Loomis heads and Loomis skeletons, for that matter, pretty extensively in his work. Let's see if we can find a good example somewhere in here. Here we go. But you can see there's Loomis heads right there.
Oh yeah.
Those are also Loomis skeletons right there, and they are a mix of Loomis skeletons and a few other things. Like Loomis has a particular way that he does like the box form. That he does the pelvis versus like this kind of box form. I think actually that torso is probably a little bit more Michael Hampton than Loomis, but Michael Hampton didn't exactly copyright that method. But you can see like when Matt Rhodes is thinking about storytelling, he thinks about composition and stuff, and he like thinks about where the characters are placed, and it does it really rough and loose and stuff to just kind of place the idea and stuff, because he has the confidence to be able to build up the drawing, and he knows where to go next. See, check that perspective lines right there.
Mm-hmm.
He's just 3D models and some backdrops too for complex forms like that. See if we can find. Oh, here we go. Yeah, those are some Loomis heads with. Yeah, you can see if you like. I would actually encourage people to study Matt Rhodes's approach, because look at that. Yeah, that's a Loomis head with the way that there's a Loomis head, but he uses the top plane of the ear right there for the cheek, which is a Riley method rhythm. It's kind of what's going on here on the 3D model that I've got. But let's see, I've actually got a Riley method head here somewhere. Yeah, it's here it is. There's a couple of them actually. This is a Riley method model head right here.
Mm.
That's cool.
Let's see here. Head. Here's the basic Riley method head, by the way. And here's I think this is a. No, that's from New Masters Academy. This was a draw over study of a Riley method face. This is a particularly advanced application of it, showing how like it's not a dry academic technique. You can use it to really bring life to a face. The Riley head abstraction. See that?
Oh.
You can also use it for caricaturing and distorting faces. And it can also be used for
cool.
Yeah, it can also be used for animals too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Let's see if I can find the Riley method wolf head I found once here. Animal. That's not a Riley method head, but I think. Yeah, those are Riley method rhythms for a fox head, it looks like. Here's a Bridgman structure to animal anatomy that somebody did. But yeah, I mean, like, there's you can use Riley method rhythms on animal faces. Their animal faces are basically distorted human faces. Like, they're still based on a lot of similar things and comparative anatomy.
Riley method animal head is going to be useful because I keep getting requests from my friends to draw furries.
Well, for anthropomorphic animal heads, they're just basically human heads with distorted features. For actual like real animal heads, there are some very animal specific structures that that come with that distortion. But like the basic structure of a human head but warped is usually what an anthropomorphic head, animal head is. So like you're instead of looking at an animal ear, you are looking at a human ear that's been distorted to look like an animal ear. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But Riley method does apply also to comparative anatomy for animal drawing. I'd love to find it. There was a great image I found a while ago of like a bunch of like canine faces that were done with Riley method that were really well drawn that I sadly can't find with Google image search, but I mean like the same stuff applies to the human face for animal drawing in a lot of ways. Anyway. So I just want people to keep playing with this. I'm going to be doing more of this tomorrow myself. But we're just getting into the swing of things. So it's not a huge pressure. This is just warm-up week. We're going to be working ourselves up bit by bit to getting more into this stuff. But yeah, you can check this out. Look, like this was using the Ethan Becker wedge method and stuff. But you can see like even on this, like I was using like Loomis side planes and stuff. And you can see I did a little quick Loomis demo right there using like the Ethan Becker wedge.
You said you're gonna go over the wedge method?
Yeah, next week.
Cool.
You can, or you can just watch. You can just watch. Well, you can watch the previous recordings I did of this stuff. Literally, like what you're looking at right now. You can watch the video of me drawing these on my YouTube, and you can also just watch Ethan Becker's face and head drawing video where he goes over this method.
I'll have to do both.
Yeah. Yeah, take it slow. Just get into it. Remember, like our eventual goal is like we want to be able to work ourselves up to. I mean, this all the sketching and practice is good, but is good for getting us into things. But the goal that we want is we want to do stuff like this. We want to like spend like 8 to 10 hours a day on like focused on a particular piece of animation or illustration or concept art or something. Like really focused on a thing where we're putting our energies into it. And what the stuff we're doing now is like study and prep to kind of get us into the techniques that we're going to be using for that stuff. But this is the real target. Like stuff like this on ArtStation. Like they're really no matter what it is you're doing, whether it's like this is freaking amazing concept art for Crash 4,
wow,
for example. Yeah, I mean like this stuff right here, like it's all cartoony characters, but it's still like based on a lot of the same like figure drawing principles and so on. Like you can see like you could probably like infer kind of Loomis heady structures into the side plane of the face and so on into these. There's other animator oriented techniques which also help with that. But yeah, this guy's really cool. Yeah, I've looked at this guy's work before on stream.
oh wow.
Looks like he's posted a lot more stuff recently for his Crash work. That's a really nice head drawing right there. Yeah, I would definitely like look at a lot of ArtStation folks to study, like find really good ArtStation artists that you admire that you kind of want to pull stuff from, preferably like really good pros who are really well or like really well practiced. That's fantastic right there.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is great. Like, I'm gonna hold on to this artist in particular because these are fantastic heads to study from. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff you want to be looking at and studying. I'm gonna be shutting down the stream pretty soon. So you guys are gonna be all free to go, but thank you all for coming. We're gonna be meeting next Wednesday. Next Wednesday will be so the way it's working currently is Monday's head drawing, Wednesday's anatomy, Friday is action and gesture, and Saturday is going to be animation. The Saturday class this week is also going to be kind of a warm up, a loosey goosey class where we are probably going to study some live action and try to break it down to animation. And we'll probably be looking at some inspirational stuff on like Sekiguro or something. But anyway, that's what my classes currently are right now. But I'm going to be gradually steering things in the direction of applying what I'm doing to animation because the animation is my focus. So we're probably going to be seeing a lot of stuff like when we get good momentum going in the studies that we're doing. I'll be like taking the studies that I've done and like animate and like doing an animation demo using like a head turn, for example, during a head drawing class or whatever. I did that. I did my toes into doing that last semester, but I mean, the main thing is to get like a little bit of animation practice in every day, and that's one of my personal goals this year. So I did a lot of drawing practice last year, not too much animating. This year, I want to kind of get momentum going with animation much more than I had. Oh, before we go, I'm going to show you these the classes I'm interested in taking. This is the first one. And I've heard a lot of good things about this, both for the figure drawing and the animation stuff. So, I actually am considering, instead of classes, just like taking this, which is this is only 5 weeks, but it's like personal one-on-one tutoring, and it's like 1 hour sessions, but really super personalized for helping me meet my goals. So that might be what I take for this, but I'm gonna see. Yeah, Samantha Youssef is really amazing. She's a former Disney animator who like is a really, really intense instructor and stuff, and I've heard lots of really great things about her. She's changed the way that a lot of my peers have thought about how they draw, and so I'm hoping to get something out of that if I take a class with her. She's also really intense, so if you take a class with her, you have to take it very seriously, and you have to like really dig in hard and really concentrate. Then let's see here. Some of the other classes I can recommend. Watts Atelier. These are the guys who first initially taught me how to draw. They have online and streaming and in-person classes, although the in-person classes might not be a thing right now because of COVID. These guys are very strongly recommended. Some of what I've showed you today, and I've been showing around here, is how they initially taught me. I'm actually trying to rekindle a lot of the things that they taught me originally when I learned how to draw from them for what I'm doing here. But anyway, let's see. What are some of the ones? Brainstorm Academy. Brainstorm Burbank, or Brainstorm Academy. Brainstorm Burbank is one of the two schools. They're really, really good. They, let's see here. Yeah, they got games, film, foundation classes and stuff. I'd probably be taking something along those lines. What do they got for animation this next semester? It's character design, not actual animation, though. The storyboarding one might be one that I might consider, though. For myself, I mean. And it's probably like storyboarding foundation class or something. That is a perspective boot camp. That looks like a. What is this? How much is this one? Doesn't say. $650. Okay. Yeah, Brainstorm School. Let's see. Concept Design Academy. This is the place that Ethan originally went to when he took his first actual formal classes, and they usually have really good instructors there. What do they got for the? Well, they don't have a spring 2020 brochure right now. It's just the fall one, but they've got really good stuff. There's a bunch of other ones, but those are just the main ones. That's enough for that's enough to cover a lot of bases for a lot of people. There's tons of other stuff I've been looking at too, like several people's Gumroads that do like personal mentorship tutorials and other things, and like classes and other things like that. But those are those 3 or 4 main places I just shared, or the 3 or 4 main things I've been looking at. I'm heavily favoring Studio Technique right now, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah, that's the big thing. Like, I need a goal. I need a class that's giving me like really intense homework right now. And when I get into a real class, I'm going to be doing like I'm not going to be like I'm going to talk to I'm going to ask the instructor like I want to practice this stuff on my streams, but I don't want to like give away the stuff that you're giving me in this class for free. Like, well, how much information can I give away ethically that you'd be okay with and stuff, you know? Because I don't want to like reteach the actual class that the person's teaching me, but I want to practice some of what they've assigned for homework on some of my streams and talk about some of it. So, well, I'll ask them about that. In any case, like when I'm really digging into the homework, I should be like concentrating on it without even any music at certain points. But yeah, that's the goal. Take a class or 2 right now and uplift myself off my plateau. So we're gonna be shutting down the stream for the evening. Thank you all for coming. We'll see you next Wednesday if you're gonna be showing up for the next class. I'll see ya.